Hello and welcome everyone. I am Anubha Kushwaha on behalf of the Open Source Help community. And as a part of a weekly chat session, we have Ranveer Aggarwal with us this week. So about Ranveer, he has been a software engineer for over a year and a programmer for nearly 5 years. Apart from his profession as a software engineer, he codes as a hobby and frequently hacks as well. He is deeply interested in the field of visual computing, computer graphics, image processing, etc. And most of his projects are centered around these areas. He usually codes in Python, C++, Sharp, and lately he has also been trying his hands on Rust. So, and further about his studies, he graduated with a bachelor's in computer science and engineering in the year of 2016, and he's currently working at Microsoft in Hyderabad, India. So, hi Ranveer, how are you?
Hi, it feels good to be here.
Yeah, so it's really a great pleasure for OSHC to have you with us. So I hope this session is going to be a great help to all the people out there. So starting with the session, we have a set of questions for Ranveer. So let's start. My first question to you, Ranveer, is that what was your first contribution to an open source project and to which organization? Further, can you show your first pull request of the contribution with a screen share?
So when you say contribution, I would say you going to a forum and putting in a comment as a contribution.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, honestly, I don't remember. And as far as the first pull request, sure, it was to a friend repository. A friend of mine, he hacked together a course downloader and sent a PR on it. So I can show it to you.
Yeah.
Just a second. Um, yeah. Okay. So I hope you can see my screen and see. Go to say I'm going to use this nice tool called firstpr.me.
Yeah,
Can
that's
do your first pull request.
yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know about it.
so so yeah, this is my first pull request. 3 commits and yeah, some changes. So yeah, very small repository, and it's a pretty cool tool. As far as my first big contribution is concerned, I guess it was to DiPi. So yes, I can show that to you.
Okay, so this pull request, the major contribution one. So how like it was after how much time after you did the very first pull request that you showed earlier? Like that was the naive one.
Well, this was in 2016, so it's fairly recent.
Okay, okay, okay.
This a big pull request because firstly, this was a big contribution in terms of lines of code. Secondly, I really struggled with it because there were several comments on it, and yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
Um, took me a while to get this merged.
Okay.
Go here, and yeah. So you can see it's 115 comments.
Yeah. Many commits would have taken a lot of time to get merged, definitely.
Yes. So yeah, this took a while. Uh, I had a lot of formatting issues, a lot of small issues that you initially have. Uh, but yeah, this is where I learned what code quality means. This was it, I would say.
So what are these projects like? Can you like the first one and the second one? The first one was?
The first one was a course downloader. It was a small hack by one of my friends.
Oh, cool. Okay. And this one?
This is a major application. So this is DiPi. This is one of my this is one of the projects I contributed during GSOC. So it's a diffusion imaging toolbox. Uh, what I worked on is there's a 2D UI for this. So
Okay, and this major contribution that was before you got selected as a G Soccer for this organization, like while you were contributing to this major pull request?
no, this came after. This came after GSOC.
Okay. Got it.
So yeah, that's my first contribution, I'd say.
Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you for showing us that. Okay, so coming to our next question, what were the major difficulties that you faced while starting with your contributions?
Uh, Starting with my contributions, you mean starting with open source in general, or like contributing code?
Contributing code to an open source project.
So major difficulties, uh, firstly, huge code bases. So
Mm-hmm.
they can be really scary at first. You know, somebody tells you that go and fix this, and you're like, okay, let me look where it is,
Mm-hmm.
and you meet thousands of lines of code, and you don't know where to go and fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I would say, collaborating with people in different time zones. That was initially very difficult. You
Agreed.
know, that happens. And, um, and yeah, the biggest difficulty I would say is contribute to. So you say you use open source software daily, and
Mm-hmm.
you really want to give back. You really want to contribute, and you don't know which organization needs your help, which
Yeah,
organization can do with your skills. You don't
yeah,
know that,
yeah.
and you see people, you see people talking around. You see people talking on chats. They're
Mm-hmm.
talking about all these cool things that they're doing, and
Mm-hmm.
you can't suddenly just butt in and uh, I am a newbie. I help me out. So yeah, that was
Mm-hmm.
I guess everybody faces.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. That huge code base, it terrifies you so much. It's like, will I be able to even do anything in this? Will I be
Yeah,
able to even figure out the whole code base? Yeah,
correct.
agreed. Yeah. Okay. To moving to my next question, what open source organizations or projects are you involved with these days?
Uh, well, I still contribute to DiPi. That's
Mm-hmm.
the organization I worked with as a part of Visa Performance team. I contribute to it, and it's a really cool project.
Yeah.
And what
Okay.
I'm doing is it's something like this. So you have a 3D sort of interface, where you have things going around. You can visualize things in 3D.
Oh.
But all the UI controls for this is generally as a part of a separate window. You know, you will use GTK or Qt or
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Mm-hmm. So it's
What
cross-platform sort of a thing.
it's in any OpenGL interface, you can say
Acha, okay.
this is a problem, right? That all
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the
agreed.
UI controls are outside the application. You need to application. So what we are doing is we are building UI controls inside the OpenGL window itself. So to put it in perspective, it's like you've seen all these cool sci-fi movies, right?
Yeah.
Iron Man, these people. So they do all these visualizations, and they have UI controls which are on screen, which
Mm-hmm.
are on the UI 3D interface itself.
Yeah.
So something similar to that. So yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Okay, so what technologies, like you use OpenGL for sure. Like apart from that, like what other technology stack TypeI uses?
So DiPi is completely Python based.
Mm-hmm.
We also use Python,
Mm-hmm.
and for the visualization we use VTK.
Okay, fine. Okay, that's really cool. If amongst our audiences, if anybody is interested in it, they can definitely go and dig TypeI. Okay. So that's one of the projects you're contributing. Any other, like any other organization or project you find fascinating and involved these days?
So I was looking up 3D engines
Mm-hmm.
just to just for fun. I was looking up 3D engines, and I came across this engine called Babylon.js. Uh,
Babylon JS.
if you don't know about it, it's very similar to 3.js.
Okay.
Uh, Babylon.js is more oriented towards building games.
Okay.
It's a pretty cool engine that they've written completely in JavaScript.
Okay.
So I was looking up documentation, and I saw there were some formatting issues. So yeah, the it's open source, right? So documentation is open source. So I went in and started contributing. So that was fun. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the fun part. You explore some open source project, you yourself find some bug or some feature you want to add, and then you just propose it, and
correct.
it gets done. Yeah, that's the beauty of open source. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that answer, Ranveer. Coming to the next question, what is the coolest thing that you have coded till now, or you got the chance of working upon something which you really found yourself very cool?
So honestly, the coolest thing I'm working on is the thing that I'm working on at work. Talk much about it. I'm so sorry. Uh, but yeah, it'll come out soon. It's pretty cool. Uh,
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, DiePipe was one of the coolest projects I worked on, which is why I still contribute to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Apart from that, I just recently built a ray tracer, so
You built a
that was fun. A ray tracer.
ray tracer. Oh, okay.
So it's like it gives you a photorealistic image, near photorealistic image,
Mm-hmm.
using code. That's it. Like you don't use any imaging library or any graphics library.
Mm-hmm.
You just you know from the first principles, you send rays through an array of pixels,
Mm-hmm.
and they hit objects, and a realistic image is generated. And this project I built in Rust.
Okay.
This whole new language that I'm trying to learn these days.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't heard about it, go look it up. It's really amazing.
So, like, what does like basically Rust is basically for which kind, like mainly Django, like suppose for backend and everything. So, what Rust mainly helps, like
So
most?
Rust is
Mm-hmm.
newish. It's an open source language.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a systems language, I would say.
Okay.
It's really fast. It's in some ways its performance is close to C++.
Okay.
Memory safe. It's type safe. I mean, I know it's fast and memory safe. Type safe are you don't generally relate these things, but yeah, they have these cool features.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a very strong type checker, a very which
Mm-hmm.
makes it really fast.
Okay.
And
So, yeah.
Mozilla is heavily using this language. In fact, the latest browser engine for Firefox is being written in Rust.
Yeah, so I think somewhere in the future, people will be more talking more about Rust when they'll see its huge advantages.
Yeah, people are talking about Rust. I mean, it's the most loved languages right now. I mean, according to the Stack Overflow, so
Yeah,
you
that's
should
great.
definitely.
Yeah, so to the audiences as well, please go and try Rust. The projects on Rust, we'll ask Ranvi to get more information on which projects are there on Rust and the ones you can contribute to. So I think it's a good thing to try a new language. Coming to my next question is how can someone get started with contributed to KDE and PSF projects? What were your contributions and work?
So, so for KDE,
Yeah,
KDE is a huge organization. I mean,
yeah.
it's one of the products that KDE makes is Ubuntu, and Ubuntu is famous. And apart
Okay.
from that, they make a lot of Linux-based applications. In fact, they're also coming up with a mobile OS.
Oh, that's nice.
And so yeah, KDE is a huge organization. If you are interested in any sort of field in, let's say, networks, they have a lot of projects. If you're interested in building an OS, not an OS, well, desktop environment. If you're interested in building a graphics application, well, they are building one. So yeah, it's a huge organization. The best way to contribute to KDE is their applications.
Can
Uh,
you please repeat? It was not clear.
the best way to go for contributing to KDE is, firstly use their applications.
Okay,
They
okay.
have a lot of applications that you can use, and find if you find a bug, uh, go and raise an issue. That I would say is the easiest way to contribute. Uh, KDE also has all these IRC channels. Talk to people; they are very helpful. Even if you just say that I'm a newbie, I just know C++, I just know Python, I just know HTML, and I just want to contribute somehow. They'll totally help you out. So they're really cool people. And how to contribute in code? Well, I'm not sure anymore because they have kind of changed the way they manage projects since the time I used to contribute.
Okay, that's really nice that they have so much diversity of projects there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think now they have more variety as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was about KDE. About PSF, Python Software Foundation.
PSF is this umbrella organization which has a lot of independent projects under it.
Mm-hmm.
DIPA being one of those, the one that I contributed to.
Oh, that's
Uh,
cool. Yeah.
the Python language itself comes under PSF, and open source on GitHub these days. Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, I mean, for PSF there are a lot of independent projects where you can go and look up how they communicate, how they chat. Some people have Slack channels, some have Twitter channels, some have IRC channels. So yeah, I guess each org has a different way. Uh, in DIPA we use Gitter generally,
Mm-hmm.
and the best way to contribute would be again to just find an issue, raise it, or maybe claim an existing issue.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, something like that.
Okay, and what were your contributions and work in these projects, like in KDE and PSF? Like PSF DIE5, we know in KDE.
So in KDE, one of the things that I did was I worked on their blog aggregator.
Okay.
So they have this website called Planet KDE.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's a really old blog aggregator. It's been going on for a while. So the interface kind of need a refresh.
Mm-hmm.
And this was 2014. The
Okay.
only the only thing that I knew properly was HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. Yeah, so Bootstrap.
Okay. Okay.
So I just went ahead and asked that these are my skills. You need any help? And they said, sure, you can just give our website a refresh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why not? So they have this cool program called Season of KDE.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
like it's pretty much like GSOC,
Mm-hmm.
except it's in the winters.
Mm-hmm.
It's only towards KDE projects. Um, and yeah, that's the time when people are really responsive. People are really looking for new contributors to the community. So that's a good time to contribute.
So
Uh,
is the selection process for season of winter for KD similar to GSOC? Like you give proposals and then it gets accepted. Is that like so?
yes, it's very much similar. Yeah.
Okay, and for that also they get a stipend, or it's like
They get a certificate and a really cool T-shirt, and
oh, that's nice.
you you become a full-time contributor to an open source. So
Yeah, you're learning so much.
that's a good benefit.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, thank you for that really acknowledging answer, Ranveer. Moving to the next question, is that can we see a live bug fixing or an issue right now?
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
So
so
you can act as a volunteer, and one of the projects
yeah,
that we have for this session.
yeah,
So
so I'll
yep, you
be
can share.
yeah, I'll be sharing my screen.
So I'd say the first step to contributing is to actually go ahead and find a project. For this session, that part is done. Uh, let's say okay. This is the project that we'll be fixing.
Yeah, so I've screen shared my screen,
Yeah.
and we have this project in which we'll do the live fix bug fix. So first of all, yeah, then you may take it as you like. So I'll have
So
to.
so yeah, this is a project that we just started. It's called XIF this website. It's basically fix this website. This is a website that has been a bit shoddily built. It doesn't look very good. So yeah, we're looking for contributors to fix this. And today Anova is going to be the contributor who's going to send a fix. So the first step is to actually get to the repository, which is this. Uh, Second step is to find if something is wrong with it. So the best thing is to fork and clone it and actually run this.
So, okay. So I'll be forking this.
So if you're not familiar with what forking is just basically creating a copy of that repository onto your own account. Uh, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, so you can see now it says my username and then the website. So it's like now version of the code, my version of the code. So I have forked it. Now I'll have to clone it. So
If you look at the README for this repository, you see there are generally we have contributing guidelines. Yeah, you can do things like if you don't know what to fix, you can just go to that XIF on Freenode. It's an IRC channel. You can go there and ask if you need any help.
yeah, I'll show that as well. Just a second. So the second step it's to clone. So on the right hand side, you can see there is a link, and you can just copy it. So just copy it to your clipboard, and this is one of the way of you like by CMD you can clone it. Otherwise, I think there is a desktop version for that as well. So yeah, cloning by that time, Ranveer, we can show them the free node thing as well. Just a
Sure.
second.
So yeah. Mm,
Just a second. Here it is. So this is a free node. This is the like you get to connect with the IRC channel through this. So I'll just give a nickname, and the channel is XIF. I hate these. Oh, so you can see that I have entered the channel, and I can type. So first of all, you have to click join, and as soon as it, okay, I don't know what's happening.
/join #XIF.
Okay, I don't know, it's not working. Uh, /join and hashtag XIF, right?
Uh, I'll do one more thing. Okay, some problem. Okay, go to website.freenode.net again.
Okay.
I'll just do it again.
Yeah.
This time, also specify channel #XIF.
#XIF.
Uh,
Okay. It really becomes irritating at times to click these captchas.
You can
Yeah.
also use a MSC client, a non-web client.
Okay.
So,
So
yeah, so you're joined the channel now.
yeah.
Here you can say, introduce yourself and say that, I'm looking forward to contribute to some an open source project, and how can I help out? Something like that.
Yeah. So I have like this is a very like you can explain a bit more about yourself that you have these expertise and you are looking for this kind of project and you have come here. So it's just a sample. So this like you can get started like introduce yourself in the community like this.
And so yeah, for now, I'm the moderator of the community, so I'm going to reply. I'm going to say, sure, thanks for reaching out. And yes, you can work. And then I'm going to send a link to the problematic file. And then I can say something like a few tags are misplaced. You can help us fix them.
Yeah, so now I have got a guidance by the a member of community, a maintainer of the project. So I'll just go and check it out. So I've just clicked it, and okay, my net. So okay, so he has directed me to the document where the flaws are. So by the time it would have cloned. So okay, so you can see it has cloned. So I'll just go to that thing. So XIF tab. Yeah, so I'm inside the cloned repo. So this is my local repo. So here inside you can see it would be there. So in desktop, XIF website, all the documents which were there initially in the project, they are present. So you can see the CSS file, the README file, index.html. So all of them is now present in my local repo, which is here. And the one which I was showing, this is the remote repo. That's the cloned version. So this is the one which I forked. So now, as directed by the head of the community, like a member of the community, he told me that there are some flaws in the HTML file. So I'll just open it and try to find them. So let's see.
Yeah, now you see some problems with this file, right?
Yeah.
The heading tags are really misplaced.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can do is you can just go to the repository and you can probably raise an issue.
Okay.
Go to the original repository.
Yeah.
And yeah, now you can probably raise an issue saying that the HTML tags are a little misplaced.
So this is like you can.
Yeah, you can put up a comment about what you intend to do or how you can help out. For now, you can just leave it empty. Yeah, for now it's okay.
Okay, fine.
Submit a new
That's
issue.
permission. So you can see.
So now on this repository, I as a maintainer of the repository, I can see this issue, and now I can say something like, uh, "Right, can you help us fix it?" Usually the responses won't be this fast. People can take days to respond uh, because people can be busy, people can be in different time zones. So, but yeah, let's assume that people are fast. So that's a comment. So
Yeah.
yeah, now you
So
can go ahead and maybe fix it.
yeah, so now I've got the I've got the approval. So one more thing, that if you raise a issue, it's advisable to wait for the approval by the one of the members of the community, because it is for your benefit, for your save of time. Maybe that thing is not required, or it's being fixed by somebody else. So it's like a possible suggestion that you don't do it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's better to claim the issue before actually going forward and fixing it directly.
Yeah, so I've changed this. It was H9 earlier, so I made them matching tags. Then there was P2, yeah. So I think, yeah, so it can also be changed with that. And one more thing, that it's better to not do more than one fixes in the same issue, that it keeps things clean, right, Anveer?
Yeah, I mean, if it's the same logical thing, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a very small piece of code. But if you base and you're fixing multiple modules at once, that's
Mm-hmm.
not advisable. It's better to look at one thing at a time.
Yeah, great. So as now I can see that I have modified the file, so I'll just add this. So I'll just add it up. So now if I see the status, it's modified. It's now into the staged area. Now I can just commit it. So Ranveer, you want to like while I'm doing go through the process that how like what does these all things mean or like
Sure. I'll talk about it.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, about contributing. Usually when you go to a project, uh, it'll have a set of contributing guidelines. Most welcoming communities have guidelines to contribute. So they'll have instructions like what kind of pull request titles to give, or what kind of how to go about the whole process. So not everybody uses GitHub. Some people have a different form of project management which you might be using. So you might need to go through that process. So yeah, it's usually recommended to go through those guidelines first. It's very common for you to. I mean, it's very common for people to come in and just say, I made this change. Where to next? Through the guidelines before asking it out.
Okay, so that was cool. So by the time Ranveer explained it up, I pushed my code from my local repo to my remote repo. So by this time, let's go and check it out. So I think here it would be visible. Uh, yeah, here it is. Yeah, so you can see that I committed the code. So it's one commit ahead of open source help community master. So you can see the last commit was by me that I corrected the HTML tags. So being a contributor, I need to let the community know that I did some work. For that, I need to create a pull request, right,
Yeah.
Ranveer? Yeah, so I'll create a pull request now.
With this pull request, I'll know that she has made some changes to the repository, and I can potentially merge these changes into the original repository.
Yeah, so here I can say fixes. So, like, this is one of the ways in that you just write fixes and then the tag of the issue name that hash the name of the issue. So, by this, what it means that as soon this particular PR gets merged, the issue will automatically get closed. So, this is just a convention which you can learn with time. So, I'll just create a pull request. So, there can be other things, detailed things as well, but it's fine for now. Yeah.
Cool. So can you go to that issue? Can you go back to that
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you created?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
As you can see, when since she mentioned the issue number in the pull request, it's now linked to this issue.
Hmm.
So it's how she explained. So I'll go to this pull request, and I can leave some comments on it on how to fix it. Uh, and after this is after the maintainers are happy with your changes, they can just go ahead and merge this. So right now I'm going to merge this pull request because I'm happy with the changes that she's made. And so yeah, now this is merged.
So you can see the issue is also closed automatically. So yeah, so this got closed and it has the now this is showing as merged. So yeah.
So yeah, you just got your first pull request merged to this repository. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So this was pretty much the flow in which you find a bug. You can ask, like as Ranveer told, you can like go into the IRC channel or the Slack channel, ask them, tell them about your expertise, your area of interest. Accordingly, they can guide you to work if you find the code base very heavy and you are unable to find issues on your own. So yeah. So anything else, Ranveer, you want to tell in this?
I mean, if you have any doubts, you can just put it on the comments on the live chat or the comment on this video.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this is pretty much the process of actually going through the whole flow of from an issue to a PR to actually getting a code merged.
So I'll just check it out if there are any comments or any problems. So no, there is no such thing as of right now.
So yeah, if you have any issue, we can probably take this up on the OSHC Slack channel later.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Yeah, so thank you a lot, Ranveer, for giving us that live demo. Most of the people, the newbies, they have this issue of how to, what's the flow, and they get so much confused about it. So, yeah. Okay, so Ranveer, should we move forward with other questions, or because there are no other questions as of in the live session for regarding this? I think maybe they'll ask later.
Sure, yeah, we can move forward.
Okay, fine, perfect. So we'll move to the we'll take on the session forward. So like we were just talking about your contributions earlier. So like you have been involved with open source a lot. So what are your other contributions to open source community? We see that you have written articles, blogs, answers on Stack Overflow, and have open sourced your personal projects as well on GitHub.
So most of the non-work related code that I do, I usually open source it. You know, it gives me a lot of advantages. First and foremost, whatever I have written today might be helpful to somebody in the future.
Agreed.
You know,
Yeah.
maybe with an assignment or maybe with a module might be interested in something you're building. So that's the beauty about open source. Secondly, I might have written something and it might somebody can come and make it be better. So yeah, that's another thing. Something I've written, somebody else can come and make it better. So that's one. Uh, Also, open sourcing your code also acts as a virtual resume for you in a way. So
Yeah.
these days, a lot of hiring people, they create a profile, they look at the project that you have done, and so this really helps to give you that visibility.
Mhm.
Um, Stack Overflow, Stack Overflow, right? So it's an indispensable tool for programmers. So for Stack Overflow, yeah, when I look up a question and I see a question that is unanswered and that I can answer, uh, yeah, I do answer it. Of giving back, uh, some people have written some very good answers on Stack Overflow. Maybe mine can be one of them. So yeah, I'd recommend you all to do this. Healthy ecosystem. The answers have to flow from somewhere. So yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I agree. Like we read the answers, and it's also equally important that there are people to give the answers as well. Yeah, agreed. So that's a good thing that you do. Apart from that, like how much you were involved in IIT Bombay Open Source Society, and what are the primary goals of the society?
So IIT Bombay has this club. It's called Urban Coding Club.
Okay.
It's an oldish club. It's been in existence for nearly 10 years. I've been involved with this club for a while. Yeah. So we as WNCC we used to conduct a lot of sessions from getting started into programming to language-based sessions like Python, C++, or something like that. As far as open source is concerned, we used to have sessions on Git, sessions on IRC, uh, how to get started with GSOC in general.
Mhm.
So yeah, that way a very good culture, very good culture, and the club is still running strong. Uh, and we have a good team of volunteers, a good team of people who do this as who I mean they don't need to do this; they just volunteer for it, and
Yeah.
they try to this hobby of programming into people. So So yeah, it's a good club, and a lot of colleges these days they have such clubs,
Hmm.
and it's really good to see a good programming culture coming up apart from academics.
Okay, so like there are like talks about new technologies, open source projects, GSOC, and these competitions, like something like that.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's really good. Apart from that, what are your suggestions for people who are starting to contribute to open source projects?
So my first suggestion would be to you know don't be scared. I mean,
Yeah.
it can be a bit intimidating getting into open source.
Hmm.
It's a huge project, which many millions of people are using that project,
Yeah.
and you easily feel that where do I come in? How can I contribute to such a huge project?
Hmm.
But each contribution is invaluable. You should just don't be scared. That would be my first suggestion. Apart from this, I would say have patience, have persistence. Don't be disheartened if you cannot contribute. I mean, it happens that you go to an organization, and they tell you to do something. You say I want to contribute, and they say, okay, you can go to this module, you can do this, and this is how you can help us out. You try your hands, you try to compile it. At times, the whole thing won't compile at all. At times, you won't be able to actually make the contribution. At times, maybe your pull request is not getting approved at all. So don't be disheartened. That's what I would say. Uh, you know, just be persistent. If you can't do it, move on to something else. Don't just ditch open source completely. Um, Another thing would be to be nice on IRC, on Slack. Be nice and be respectful. Because most of the project maintainers, they don't do this full time. They don't get paid for this. They're doing this only for the love of their project, for the love of open source. And they're under no obligation to help you out, to help out anyone. Patient. That's what I would say. Uh, and continuing on this, do your homework. Common for people to just bombard you with questions.
Yeah.
How do I do this? How do I get started? How do I get started?
Hmm.
Uh, there are millions of answers on the internet.
Yeah.
Really, uh, you can you can look it up if you want to get started. There are a lot of things. Be specific. Ask specific questions. Don't be very general.
Hmm.
When I say do your homework, go through the contributing guidelines. Go through previous comments, previous issues. Go through the work that has been done in that regard.
Hmm.
Something that's very important, because people can be irritated by, if you ask the same question to some person again and again, that person can get irritated. So yeah, doing the homework is important.
Yeah, agreed. And I think, thank you so much. These were really like encouraging and acknowledging. Even I face this problem so many times, and I think even the open source organizations want as many people as possible to come and contribute to their projects. So I think like most of the organizations have also started putting labels like first time contributors and stuff like that. So yeah, like open source in itself is welcoming because it's open source. Come and contribute. So that's amazing. Yeah. Apart from that, what are the things that you learn while contributing to open source? I mean, like, what do you think would you would not have learned otherwise if you would not have contributed to these open source projects?
So firstly, being a contributor to open source gives you an opportunity to do what you want. So for example, I'm interested in astronomy, and you know I can just go and work for NASA right now,
Oh,
and
that's so cool.
I can't just go and work on NASA. I can't.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to find a job that helps me with meeting my goals, meeting my aspirations. But being in open source, I can find an organization that does astronomy, that does all sorts of stuff, and I can just go and contribute. So that is you can do only in open source. That's what I would say. Secondly, what you learn is working on big code bases. So as a college student, especially being a college student, you work on small projects. You work on projects that are, at max 1,000 lines of code or so. Only user, you, maybe your professor, your teaching assistant, they are the only users of your software, most probably. Working on open source, you work on something that's being used by a lot of people, and the project itself is huge. Uh, so you get to work with it. And generally, with these projects, there are some very interesting, very smart algorithms that are, going in play. Smart way of doing things. So you can go and you can learn these things. Teach you these things. I'd say only a real life project can teach you. Um, Apart from this, you can learn good coding practices. Uh, so again, coming back to college projects, if it works, that's it. Submit it. That's the idea. That's the policy. But when you're working with open source, a certain level of code quality is expected, and that is something you can only learn while contributing to such projects.
Oh, that's yeah. So, like, as now you are working as a software engineer at Microsoft, so did your previous experience with open source writing code, like involvement with such huge code base, going through code reviews, helped you, like, while you were working as
Yeah,
a, like,
definitely. So I mean, there are things that I've seen, that I've used while contributing to open source that I have also used at work. So that's really cool, right? It really helps at work.
yeah, that's awesome that you get to learn it in from the very beginning, from a college age only.
And
So,
plus, one of the things is, so since I'm working in a company, I'm working
mhm.
on a single project. So
Yeah.
the thing I'm working on is pretty much limited in scope. It's limited
Mhm.
in the tech stack that I used in the domain that I'm working on. It's pretty much limited.
Mhm.
But when you're working with open source, you can work on any stack, anything you like. So yeah, that's
Agreed.
one advantage also.
Yeah, so how do you manage your work? Like in like I know it, you are working at such a good company, involving giving your 100% to that project. So how do you manage open source along with your work?
The best thing about working in open source is that there are no timelines, there are no deadlines.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, you have a free day, you have a free weekend. Just go and contribute. So yeah, that's how I do it. And
Yeah, that's
plus I have a
perfect.
very good work-life balance, luckily. So
What?
I have a
Sorry,
very
I
good
couldn't
work-life
hear.
balance.
Ah, oh, that's something really
So
good.
I don't contribute to things.
Yeah, that's good. So, yeah, moving forward, like, what are the perks you think are there of contributing to open source projects apart from, getting to like, write good coding skills and learning how to write code and stuff? What are the other perks you think?
Well, apart from the obvious aspects, uh, there is firstly you really feel good to give back to the community. Uh, you you're using a free software, in your everyday life, and you're actually contributing to it. Uh, so that feels good. That's one. Secondly, it helps you network with people who are not geographically located close to you. You know. So you can't meet these people face to face, but you can actually know them uh, virtually. So yeah, you can build a good network with open source. That's one. Secondly, there are programs like GSOC, like SOK, where you get paid a lot, you get a lot of swag, and you get a good point on your resume. So, and apart from that, the perks I would say is yeah, you get noticed. You your potential hiring person could look at your projects, look at your contributions, and bump you up in the list of, if there's a list, that is. I mean, this is not this doesn't usually happen, but it can happen with you. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I really agree with this point that now GitHub is the new resume kind of a thing that your projects are listed out there. So, yeah, even I agree with you that doing these projects apart. Like there are so many like season of KDE and many such open source projects, and even there are some, I heard about some awards which come up with regarding open source. So there are like multiple perks of open source. So I think we had a really informative session with Ranveer, and we learned quite many things today with him. So, like just before we end this session, can you please tell us a bit about the project DiFi, so that the interested viewers can find some interest. If they can relate, they can pitch in and explore it more.
So DIPA is mostly concerned with the uh, diffusion imaging. Medical imaging is I won't say a new, but it's a field it's an upcoming field which is going to be really important in the future.
Mhm.
So it's a library which is mostly for neuroscience researchers, and
Okay.
yeah, if you want to talk about the visualization part of it, I'm totally ready for it. Uh, the coolest thing is I don't understand neuroimaging at all.
So, like, is there any video or demo which is available right now, or like we can?
Yeah, they have a cool website where you can look up what they do. But yeah,
Yeah.
the thing is imaging at all. And
Uh,
yet I'm contributing to an application that does neuroimaging.
okay.
So
So
that's the thing. So I
yeah.
work on different component that is the visualization part.
Can we see it slide along? Like, if you can share screen and show the stuff, it would be more relatable.
Um, sure. I mean, I can put a link to my blog
Oh,
where you
that
can
would be perfect.
yeah you can it's uh, when you complete your GSOC, you put it up, you put everything in a Bombay. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
put that up.
Yeah, so for the viewers, we'll put the link of the blog post by Ranveer in the section down below the YouTube video, and you guys can check it out. And in case you have any doubts or any queries regarding that, we are there on Slack. Ranveer is there to answer your queries. So yeah, so we hope to see more viewers getting interested into DiFi and even Rust, which Ranveer was talking about. So even I'll be exploring Rust. So thank you so much, Ranveer, for taking out time and giving us so much information along with the bug fixing.
And thank you for being a good contributor into all this thing.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Ranveer. OSHC was glad to have you today with us. Okay, Ranveer. Thank you so much. And to all the viewers, we'll add all the important links and the project links, everything in the section below. So see you soon. Bye bye.